For months, Korea had to deal with a devastating virus that filled the country with zombies. After 180 days with no new cases, the government announces that the state of emergency can finally be lifted. However, Jung Hwan has a big secret. His daughter Sue is a zombie, and he's been keeping her hidden all this time. Today he's brought her some food and Sue tries to attack him, but Jung Hwan easily blocks her. This started some months ago. Jung Hwan works at the local zoo as an animal trainer. He also makes videos for the internet to promote the zoo. Lately he's been teaching a tiger how to dance, and he pulls off some moves for the camera. The tiger actually copies Jung Hwan's walk but doesn't do much more. At home, Sue loves spending her time dancing. Jung Hwan likes to encourage her and give her tips, but Sue doesn't want him in her room and has even put up a sign. When he tries to show her his moves, Sue reminds him that he quit dancing and kicks him out. Jung Hwan then checks on the family cat Young-yi, who also ignores him and prefers to watch TV. The cat clip show is interrupted by a newsflash showing the first zombie attacking civilians on the street. The next day Jung Hwan surprises Sue with a birthday cake, and his mother Bam soon joins the celebration on a video call. Jung Hwan jokes about not giving Sue her present, so she tickles him until he tells her where to find it. While Sue opens her gift, she hears a weird noise and calls her dad to make him look out the window. Their neighbors are outside having a very weird fight, and Sue starts filming them. The woman pushes her husband against the wall and buries her face in his neck, so Jung Hwan stops Sue's filming because he thinks this is getting dirty. However, when the woman pulls away, they discover she's brutally bitten her husband's neck. When she turns around, the woman reveals she's a zombie. She rushes to their window and starts pounding on it, so the family hides behind the sofa. At that moment Sue's phone starts wailing with an emergency text, but she quickly turns it off. The zombie keeps pounding on the window and the glass is cracking, so Jung Hwan sends Sue to her room with Young-yi. The window finally breaks and the zombie starts climbing inside, but she freezes when Jung Hwan scolds her and threatens to call the cops. Unfortunately it isn't effective and the zombie keeps moving, so Jung Hwan pushes the sofa to trap her against the railing. Then he runs to Sue's room, where she shows him a text from a friend whose mother has also become a zombie. The family decides to run away, only to find utter chaos on the streets with people fighting off zombies everywhere. Even a little doggy has transformed. Jung Hwan tries to call the emergency number, but phone lines aren't working and he only receives texts warning him about an infection spreading around the country. Guessing that the countryside must be safer, Jung Hwan says they should go to Bam Soon's house. At that moment they're surrounded by zombies, so Sue pretends to be one too and roars at the horde to keep them back. Jung Hwan copies her and they both use their dance skills to bend their limbs in funny ways to make it believable. Unfortunately the zombies realize they're lying and try to attack, so the duo starts running. Sue accidentally trips and an old lady tries to bite her, so Jung Hwan stretches his arm to protect her. The zombie bites him instead and luckily she has fake teeth, so Jung Hwan just removes them from his arm without infection. The duo keeps running but there are too many zombies on the streets. Jung Hwan gives Sue the carrier with Young-yi and asks them to wait while he tries to get a car. Then he grabs a traffic sign and uses it to push zombies out of his way as he runs toward a vehicle. As soon as he gets in the car zombies surround him, so Jung Hwan speeds up to throw them off. Then he picks up his daughter and cat to finally leave. Outside the city, Jung Hwan celebrates their escape, but Sue is upset. He notices her fidgeting with her sleeve and immediately takes a look, only to discover she's been bitten. She explains that while she waited, a little kid zombie surprised her from behind. Jung Hwan tries to assure her that she'll be fine, but her body is already transforming and she passes out. When Sue awakens, she's become a zombie. She immediately tries to bite her father, who makes a sudden turn and ends up driving off the road. Jung Hwan reaches for her hoodie and closes it tightly to block a bite. Sue manages to push him down, but Jung Hwan grabs the seatbelt and moves to the backseat. After lots of pulling, Sue hits her head and passes out. In the evening, Bam soon comes home to find her son waiting outside her house. He tells her that Sue is sick and tries to stop her from going inside, but Bam soon pushes him off and rushes into the living room to find a huge mess plus Sue growling in the corner. When Bam soon scolds her for the mess, Sue tries to attack her, however the old lady moves fast and hits her twice with a back scratcher to knock her out. Afterward Sue is tied to a chair and Jung Hwan properly explains the situation, so Bam soon has a breakdown. On TV, the government is holding a press conference. They say they're working with the military to stop the virus and ask citizens to avoid contact with zombies. The next day Jung Hwan drives to the hospital and makes Sue wait in the car. Inside he finds a crowd gathering around a doctor that just got bitten and a woman protecting her zombie son. Soldiers burst in and tell her to stay away, but as she insists her boy is fine, he bites her too. The soldiers open fire to kill the zombie, so a horrified Jung Hwan runs back to the car. As he watches more soldiers arrive, he decides to keep Sue a secret. When they return home, Jung Hwan takes the phone from Bam soon to stop her from telling her friends about Sue. He asks her to keep the secret too. While on TV, they announce that harboring zombies is a criminal offense. Jung Hwan refuses to let cops shoot Sue to death and says he'd rather do it himself. After digging a hole in the garden, Jung Hwan raises his shovel to hit his daughter. However, he thinks about all their moments together and he ends up having a breakdown instead. He even hugs her while avoiding her mouth. Bam soon grabs the shovel and says she can do it, so Jung Hwan has to stop her. While they argue, Sue uses the chance to remove her restraints and run away. Youngyi's meowing alerts Bam Soon and Jung Hwan of Sue's escape, so they immediately run down the village to look for her. Jung Hwan remembers a special spot on the pier and rushes there to finally find her. If she came here because she loved it as a child, it means she still has her memories, so Jung Hwan concludes she's still alive under the virus transformation. He plays a song on his phone and Sue starts dancing, confirming his theory. Later at home, the family watches a video from a scientist explaining that the virus destroys brain cells and only leaves survival instincts. They've been experimenting on rats and discovered that stimulating their brains helps them recover their memories and weakens the virus. Bam soon tries to feed Sue rice with egg, but the girl ignores her and only eats the meat dishes. At that moment, Dongbei enters the house because he's heard that his childhood best friend is back in town. Jung Hwan and Bam soon try to keep him away, but Dongbei ends up seeing Sue anyway. He runs to the street and tries to call the police, but Jung Hwan stops him and explains his theory. When Dongbei doesn't believe him, Jung Hwan shows him a video of Sue dancing in her zombie state and swears he'll train her just like he used to train tigers. After the girl falls asleep, Jung Hwan informs Bam soon that Dongbei wants them gone by morning. As soon as the sun rises, Jung Hwan goes outside and finds Dongbei sleeping in his car. However, Dongbei has brought good news. There's a pharmaceutical company working on a cure, so he'll allow Jung Hwan to keep his daughter while they wait. To stay safe until then, the family takes Sue to a deserted island where they plan to train her. Jung Hwan starts by trying to teach her to shake hands, but Sue bites the glove on the stick. A terrified Dongbei wants to run away and Jung Hwan reminds him not to show his back, yet Sue chases after him anyway. Next, Jung Hwan goes for social training and manages to make Sue double blink like a cat. Suddenly she tries to bite him, so Jung Hwan blows a whistle to stop her. He thinks his training is working, however Sue only froze because Bam soon is threatening her behind Jung Hwan's back. The next day the guys make Sue exercise, and Jung Hwan takes some pictures since he's starting a diary to keep track of her progress. Bam soon keeps her well fed and Jung Hwan notices his daughter isn't as bitey if she's full. As days pass, the number of zombies around the country starts decreasing, and the government raises the reward for reporting infected people. The family keeps working together and even manages to enjoy themselves. Eventually they feel safe enough to return home. One morning, Jung Hwan checks on his daughter and he has to quickly block her attack. To his surprise, Sue slowly backs off and stops growling. Jung Hwan offers her his arm and Sue almost bites it, but she stops herself at the last second. Pleased by such great progress, Jung Hwan decides to teach Sue how to talk, but the only noise she makes is growling. Bam soon thinks Sue's lack of biting means they can take her out now, but first they need to fix her looks. Jung Hwan goes downtown and buys some makeup. When he's about to leave, he sees his first love Yunhua and tries to hide, but she finds him anyway. She offers to give him a ride and shares that she's now a teacher at the school they used to attend. Yunhua wants to visit Bam soon and meet Jung Hwan's daughter, so he forces her to stop the car and goes home on foot to keep her away. In the evening, Jung Hwan and Dongbei are at a restaurant where they're suddenly approached by Yunhua. She's heard that Jung Hwan is divorced and that Sue is being treated for a brain disease, so she apologizes for her attitude earlier. Yunhua reveals she only has 3 students this year, so she thinks she could take care of Sue as well, but Jung Hwan refuses. On TV, they announce that it's been 200 days with no zombies found, so the virus is close to reaching its end. Yunhua admits she hates zombies and shares that her fiancé got infected, so she was forced to kill him. Later at home, Jung Hwan checks Yunhua's social media and finds many pictures of her with a sword. He also learns that she received an award for the most reported zombies. Meanwhile, Sue is enthralled by a commercial promoting a cosplay festival. The next day Jung Hwan goes to the city and sees the cops trying to keep a protest under control. People are demanding to know the real cause behind the virus and asking for justice for the killed infectees. At his old apartment, Jung Hwan gathers his daughter's clothes and discovers a box in the closet. Inside there are pictures of Sue with her friends and her diary, but when Jung Hwan is about to read it, he imagines his daughter is there to tell him not to do it. She asks him to be patient while she recovers and they end up dancing together. However, when Jung Hwan remembers he's imagining things, he has a breakdown. Among the pictures, there's one of last year's cosplay festival and he remembers how enthralled Sue was by the TV ad. Jung Hwan rushes back to town and convinces Dongbei to help him take Sue to that festival because it could help her regain her memories. Then Jung Hwan goes home and discovers that Yunhua is having dinner with Bam soon. At that moment Sue tries to leave her room, so Jung Hwan rushes to push her back inside before Yunhua can see her. Sue then starts growling and pounding on the door, and Yunhua thinks the noise sounds familiar. Jung Hwan quickly blows his whistle to distract her and drags her out of the house, firmly telling her to never come back. The next day Bam soon puts makeup on Sue to get her ready for the festival. Dongbei shows up dressed as Thor because being in costume gets discounts at the festival. Bam soon then shows them the final result and the men are surprised by how beautiful Sue looks. While the guys take Sue to the festival, Bam soon attends a town meeting where the chief announces they've received an award for being zombie-free. Bam soon spits her drink in shock and Yunhua grows suspicious. The chief then asks Bam soon why her granddaughter isn't going to school and Bam soon tries to explain that Sue is sick, but the chief says it's a bad excuse and Yunhua agrees. A nervous Bam soon claims that Sue is being homeschooled and tries to leave the meeting, but she stays when the chief tells her they'll do karaoke. At the festival, the guys have lots of fun in all the attractions, but Sue continues to have the same absent expression. Jung Hwan shows her pictures of her previous visits to no avail. At that moment Dongbei reads some news about the cure for the zombie virus being close to use authorization. The men hug and celebrate, but when they turn around Sue is gone. Meanwhile Sue is following a delicious smell and bumps into another woman, causing her to fall. At first she growls at her, but she's more interested in the smell and leaves instead of attacking. Eventually she makes it to a food booth and takes a churro without paying, causing the clerk to freak out. At that moment the guys find her and Sue shocks her father by saying the word churros. Jung Hwan hugs her as he cries in happiness, then he tells the clerk he'll buy all the churros he has. When Bam soon gets home, she finds Young-yi meowing in frustration because he's eaten too much. It turns out Yun-hwa has fed him to distract him and now she's waiting there with her sword. Bam soon tries to kick her out, but Yun-hwa pulls out the progress diary with Sue-a's zombie pictures. Yun-hwa wants to know if Sue-a's mother knows about this and Bam soon tells her that her daughter is dead. Now Yun-hwa is confused because Sue-a's parents are siblings, but she ignores the issue and calls the police. Bam soon takes the phone from her and explains that Jung Hwan isn't Sue-a's biological father. Her real dad abandoned the mother to work in the city, and would only show up now and then to ask for money. Jung Hwan always stayed by his sister's side to help her raise the baby and enjoyed being a babysitter. On the night of Jung Hwan's birthday, Dongbei dragged him to a bar to celebrate and Sue was left alone at home. After the party, he called his sister to assure her everything was fine, but she was furious. She was so distracted by this call that when she crossed the street, she was run over by a car and instantly killed. Since then Jung Hwan has been taking care of Sue, who chose to call him dad when she was still a baby. The insurance money from the accident was taken by the biological father, who ran away with his mistress. At that moment Sue and the guys come back. Yun-hwa immediately gets her sword and attacks, so Jung Hwan protects his daughter and the sword hits him on the back. Sue growls at Yun-hwa and tries to attack her, but Jung Hwan makes her stop. Yun-hwa is shocked to see that a zombie following orders, but she refuses to believe it's real because it'd mean she didn't give her fiancé a fair chance. She attacks with her sword again, knocking down Dongbei before Jung Hwan and Bam soon block her. Then Bam soon makes everyone calm down by revealing another problem. The chief wants Sue at school tomorrow, otherwise the school board will come to drag her out. Jung Hwan thinks it's a bad idea, but Yun-hwa points out that if Sue is as well as he says, school shouldn't be a problem. If they don't send her to school, Yun-hwa will call the police. The next day, Sue goes to school with lots of makeup on. Yun-hwa tells the other students that Sue was in an accident and can't speak well as a cover-up story. When Jung Hwan shows up with food for his daughter, Yun-hwa leaves the classroom to receive him. Two students take the chance to start harassing Sue for wearing makeup and touch her face, only to scream when her eyes end up looking in opposite directions. Jung Hwan immediately rushes to fix it while pretending it's another side effect from the accident. During gym class, Sue picks up a ball but doesn't know how to pass it to her classmates, so she ends up dropping it. While playing basketball, the other girls just push her to the ground to get her out of the way. Jung Hwan is nervous around her and panics when she sees her do the I thing again while asking for the ball in a creepy voice. However, this is just her imagination and when she throws the ball, it hits Sue in the face. Jung Hwan has been watching everything from the bushes and immediately comes out to take his daughter away. At Dongbei's pharmacy, Jung Hwan asks for his help since Sue's face is deformed now. Dongbei massages Sue's face in a very strange way, but manages to make it look normal again. Unfortunately it only lasts a few seconds and he has to start over. Yun-hwa then arrives to apologize and gives them a bag of apples from the other kids, who are waiting outside. Sue looks at them and raises her hand to wave awkwardly, which shocks Yun-hwa. That night, Jung Hwan and Yun-hwa discuss the situation in a restaurant. Yun-hwa doesn't know if admitting she was wrong or keep hating zombies, which makes her act a bit crazy. At home, Bam soon plays cards with Sue, who finally laughs again. At that moment someone knocks on the door and Bam soon is horrified to find Sue's father, who shows her a video on his phone. The woman who bumped into Sue at the festival has recorded her and is complaining about her online. When the man makes his way inside, Bam soon and Young-yi start attacking him. The guy is stronger so he just kicks the cat and knocks Bam soon down. Then he ties Sue up and takes her away in his car, hoping the cops will pay him well for a zombie. At the bus stop, Jung Hwan gets a call from Bam soon telling him what happened so he immediately runs through the forest to reach the road faster. Suddenly he trips and falls, so his body slides down the hill until it lands in the middle of the street. The car almost runs over him, but the driver stops it just in time. Then Jung Hwan punches his brother-in-law and unties Sue, only for the other man to jump on him and hit him several times. The guy blames Jung Hwan for his wife's death, so a furious Jung Hwan tackles him and starts punching him in the face. His brother-in-law tells him about the viral video and offers to split the cash reward, distracting Jung Hwan enough to bite him and throw him off. As the man continues to beat Jung Hwan up, Sue finally snaps and jumps on her biological father to bite his neck. Jung Hwan pulls her away and manages to calm her down with a few words. When the new zombie tries to attack them, Jung Hwan quickly fights back. Afterward Jung Hwan takes Sue home and notices she has a fever. Bam soon asks about her son-in-law and Jung Hwan only says he won't return. Later Jung Hwan tells Dongbei that he'll leave with Sue, so he wants his friend to pretend he didn't know anything to protect himself. When Jung Hwan gets home, Bam soon insists to come along. Even Young Yi keeps jumping into the boxes because he also wants to come. The next morning, Bam soon meets with Yun Hua because she's supposed to give her a letter from Jung Hwan. However, she freezes when she sees some military trucks arrive in her little town. She tries calling Jung Hwan to warn him, but the phone is out of service. Then Bam soon opens the letter to learn that her son tricked her and he's already left with Sue. By the time the soldiers make it to their house, they only find the cat. At the pier, Jung Hwan is getting the boat ready to leave for the island, but unfortunately the soldiers arrive and surround the place. The duo hides inside a building and Jung Hwan announces he'll only come out if they promise not to kill Sue. However, the soldiers say they don't negotiate with criminals and start hammering the door. Jung Hwan apologizes to Sue for failing to protect her and asks her to bite him so they can be together forever. Sue refuses, so a crying Jung Hwan hugs her and asks again until she bites his neck. Suddenly the soldiers burst in and open fire, so Jung Hwan acts as a shield and is shot down. A devastated Sue watches him collapse while finally saying the word daddy. Hearing this, the captain makes his men stop the fire. Jung Hwan congratulates his daughter for being able to talk and touches her cheek before he dies. Sue has a breakdown while remembering the day she and Jung Hwan made a snowman. That day, she called him uncle and thanked him for being her dad. Sometime later Sue wakes up in the hospital completely recovered. Bam soon takes her to another room and reveals they did save Jung Hwan, but he's in a coma. Neutralizing antibodies have been found in his blood and are now being used for the cure, so his face appears on the news all over the world. Doctors theorize that he developed immunity while training Sue and it was his blood that cured her. Sue reads the progress diary and breaks down when she realizes how much he did for her. Many days later, Sue joins the dance competition. Bam soon records it all and Yun Hua plays it for Jung Hwan at the hospital. This causes his finger to start twitching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.